Hello and welcome. Today I'll be talking about what I would like to see in a Man of Steel sequel, as well as which characters I would like to see appear and who I'd like to see be casted as those characters. It's been nearly 5 years now since Man of Steel came out, and I feel it's long overdue now for another Superman movie, certainly another one in the DCEU. I still go on record to say that Man of Steel is quite possibly the best Superman movie in the modern day, and with a lot of interest back in Superman now, I think the time is right to do another one. With the recent resurrection of Superman in the Justice League movie, there are a number of things you can do for a sequel to Man of Steel. There's certainly a different ways you could take it, and yeah, I think why not? I mean, Henry Cavill to me has proved himself to be worthy of the Superman role. So, with that said, let's do another one. Why not? I was a big fan of it. With that said, here's who I like to see be casted: Deanna Agron as Kara Zor-El, Supergirl. You know, I think this would be a great opportunity to bring Superman's cousin into the DCEU. Plus, with a lot of the interest in the TV show on the CW, which I thoroughly enjoy, and I think it would be a great opportunity to bring Supergirl on the big screen. Because number one, we've never seen Superman and Supergirl together, and the last time we've only had one person play Supergirl, which was Helen Slater, and that was in 1984. Plus, I think Deanna would be perfect in that role. She was quite fun in Veronica Mars. I've only seen a couple of episodes, and she really kicked ass in Heroes, which is what stood out to me the most. And she's quite pretty as well, so I think you've got the perfect Supergirl right there, so I think they should definitely cast her. Josh Gad as Winslow Schott, the Toyman. I'm not a big fan of the Toyman. I always thought he was one of the sillier villains in the Superman Rogues Gallery, but I was watching a scene from Love and Other Drugs just over the weekend, and I couldn't help but notice that Josh Gad looked a lot like the old Toyman from the old 50s and 60s Superman comics, and I thought to myself, he'd make a really good Toyman. He wouldn't necessarily have to be the main villain. He could be like someone Superman faces off at the beginning of the film for like 6 or 8 minutes. And you know, Josh Gad, he's quite a big chunky guy anyway, and he could capture a lot of that wacky, out there sort of persona that the Toyman's known for. So I definitely think they'd cast him. I think he'd be really good at it. Sam Worthington as John Corbin, Metallo. Now, Metallo's been one of my favourite Superman villains for many, many years, and he's only ever appeared in the Superman animated series, the Justice League animated series. He was in a couple of episodes in Smallville, which I thought they were quite good. Metallo also appeared in Lois and Clark, which to me was a bit forgettable. A lot of people don't know this, but Metallo also appeared in the Superboy TV show back in the late 80s. So I think Sam Worthington could really do the character justice. He could really bring a lot of that anger and frustration and emotional backdrop to John Corbin, and I think he'd make a really good evil cyborg, especially after his performance in Terminator Salvation. So give him the shot, that's what I say. Tommy Lister as Mongol. Now, if they wanted to, they could set maybe the first half, or if not the whole film, of Man of Steel 2 on Warworld. We all know Mongol is ruler of Warworld, and he likes a good fight. He's kind of like a gladiator / Julius Caesar dictator sort of character. So Tommy Lister, I think, could really do well in that sort of role. He's a big guy, quite scary looking, and he could do the voice, or they could do CGI around him. But I'd definitely like to see Mongol as maybe the second main villain of Man of Steel 2, if they wanted to do that. But I think they should definitely go with him. I think he'd be really good at it. Henry Cavill as Bizarro. Now, I know Henry Cavill is playing Superman, but I think he's proved himself to me as a versatile actor. I mean, that scene in the Justice League where he was out of control and he basically took out the whole Justice League on his own. I think he would make a really good evil Superman, and I'd like to see them do something like what Smallville did in season 7. Don't make Bizarro just stupid and dopey and weird. Make him the exact opposite of Superman, which is evil. And you wouldn't really have to do much. Just give Henry Cavill a different suit, CGI his face, pale his skin up a bit, and I think he'd make an excellent, convincing Bizarro. And that's something I'd like to see. I've always wanted to see someone play essentially 3 different roles: Superman, Clark Kent and Bizarro. And I think Henry Cavill could really bring that sort of evil doppelganger version of Superman to the next level. So if they decided to make Bizarro the main villain, they should definitely consider giving the role to Henry Cavill as well, because he'd be really good at it. Eric Bana as Rudy Jones, Parasite. Parasite's never been my favourite Superman villain. I've never liked him. I mean, I never really took the idea of a big purple monster stealing Superman's powers and beating him up with it. But with that said, I think if done right, I think Parasite could make a really good, scary villain and intimidating look. And I think Eric Bana could really bring that sort of attitude to the character. Eric Bana is, I think he's a really good actor. I mean, he did get slammed for that other film, which they called The Hulk apparently, but I've seen a lot of Eric Bana stuff, and he's really cool, and I like him. So if they decided to bring Parasite, maybe not as the main villain, but as a side villain, I'd definitely consider Eric Bana to play that role. He'd be perfect. Corey Burton as Brainiac. Corey Burton done the voice of Brainiac in the Justice League and Superman animated shows, and he also, he lent his voice as Shockwave in the original G1 cartoon of Transformers. And I would love to see Brainiac as the main villain. I think Brainiac is long overdue to appear on the big screen, as he's never done it before. I think they should make Brainiac a complete CGI character, and I think Corey Burton should be the one to do the voice of Brainiac once again. His cold, drone, stoic voice defined the character, because when I think of Brainiac, I automatically think of Corey Burton's voice, and he done such a good job capturing the essence of the Brainiac character. Now, they could either go a number of ways. They could do like Superman Unbound sort of story arc, where Brainiac stole the city of Kandor, or they could do what they did in the animated series, where Brainiac was a living computer on Krypton created by Jor-El. So there's a number of different ways you could go with the Brainiac character. So if they wanted to make Brainiac the main character, definitely use Corey Burton's voice for the villain. So with that said, thanks for watching, guys.